It occurs to me that I have never properly told folks on video exactly the story on this white Falcon. It's a 260 V8, 3-speed Futura with a black interior and a white exterior. About as plain Jane as you could get in a Futura, I reckon. And after the break, I'm gonna explain to you how I got it and the things that we had planned to do to it and the things I still plan to do to it possibly. But more importantly, I want to talk to you and tell you a little story about my dad and me. For 45 years, the Miller family and the dedicated staff at Autocrafters have been here helping you to restore your dream Ford. Thank you for your support. Here's to another 45 years of delivering parts for your Falcon, Fairlane, F100, Galaxy, Maverick, and Pinto. So, the 64 Falcon hardtop behind me, Wimbledon white. 3-speed on the 3, it's a Futura, but that's about all I can say for it as far as it being anything special. It's special to me, but the car is a Futura, it's not a Sprint, so though it's a fairly good car for rust, it doesn't have a lot of rust on it. There's one spot I'm showing you right now underneath the car, and a typical spot for rust for these little hard tops. Other than that, pretty rust-free, pretty decent old car. I'm in love with it, I like it. But I'm not in love with it for the typical reasons. I'm kind of in love with this car now more than I was when I bought it back in 2009. Back prior to 2009, my dad and I would go and look at cars and buy cars. He helped me buy some Cougars when I was still living in Houston, Texas. We spent an entire day getting 3 cars out of the mud and mire down near the coast and bringing them out to put them on a farm location so I could pick parts off of them to make one good Cougar out of the Cougar I had at the time. And he had done that with me several times. He'd helped me buy my first car when we came all the way back out to Aiken, South Carolina, where we were at now, with a 73 Gran Torino Sport. Several different things he helped me pick up and buy. So Dad and I had always had a push-pull relationship on this because Dad was a guy that it had to be practical. So he owned station wagons, he owned vans. He never owned a pickup truck, but he always knew people that did. He was smart enough to realize that he didn't want to own a pickup truck, but he wanted to know people who owned them. And so Dad, with this car, I told him, Dad, I want to go buy this 64 Falcon. If it works out, I'd like for you to come with me to take a look at the car. So Dad and I went to Statesville, North Carolina to meet a man named Frank. I don't remember Frank's last name. I don't even remember what I paid for the car, but I do remember Dad on the way up asking me why I needed another old car. Weird that my dad was not the impetus behind my old car passions. My uncle, actually, Uncle Bill, he's the one that really gives me that passion, I reckon. But Dad just asked me that simple question: why do you want to buy this car? My wife at the time, she didn't want me to buy this car. My mother told me it was slightly irresponsible to buy this car. Bought it anyway. I was doing artwork for the guys at Legendary Ford, a magazine that was up at the time. We were kind of struggling, trying to make things happen. I bought this car and I started doing some tech on it through the magazine as technical editor, also art director, sometimes editorializer, talking about cars and doing photo shoots and things like that, like I had done when I was the editor at Mustang and Ford and Mustang Monthly. So we did a radio conversion on it where we converted it from an AM radio to an AM FM radio. We put some speakers in it, hid the speakers in the back deck so that you couldn't see them. We put a set of Halibran wheels on here. Halibran's not even around anymore, but back in the day you could still get Halibrans. We were on the kind of the very end of that crest. And my good friend Rick Simony, who runs Wheels and More, was still working at Halibran at the time, and he got me a set of the wheels that are on here right now, which I'm kind of loath to get rid of. Logan says he wants them for his Ranchero. I'm still not so sure I want to give them to him, but I'm going to probably need a little bit bigger wheels for what we're doing with the RRS stuff that we have on here right now. We put an AC system in it from the guys at Classic Autowear, dash pad from Autocrafters, door cards and seat covers from Autocrafters. I repainted the entire interior. I believe CV Vacuum Platers, who used to be a company that did vacuum plating, replated the dash panel pieces for me. I redid the steering wheel, and that's kind of where it stopped. We refinished the engine bay. The thing with legendary Ford, because of the Great Recession or Depression or whatever it was in 2008, legendary Ford lost most of its advertisers and just kind of fell in the drink. And it really killed both Colin Date, the owner of the magazine, and myself, because we really loved doing it. We really loved doing the magazine, and it just wasn't going to work. Kept the car. The car didn't go anywhere, so I'm here in the Aiken, Augusta area working on stuff for Autorestomod, trying to get that all started. So we started doing a few small things to this car, doing some video work on it back in the day in order to use the car for that purpose. We had this car and a 67 Mustang that we had called the Night Mistress. You've probably seen videos on that from way back in 2010 to 2013. Both of those cars have been in legendary Ford, and they were also going on Autorestomod, and now, as you see, Manic Mechanic. So I never got rid of the car. Personal things happened in my life, and I lost my dad in 2016, so he never got to see the car finished. My mother had an interesting moment. She was sitting around one day, and I was talking to somebody about the color I wanted to paint this 64 Falcon hardtop. I was wanting to paint the car, I believe it's called Sunlit Gold or something like that, or some kind of orange color that was on the Mitsubishi Eclipses. And she pipes up and she says, "Why don't you paint it dark aqua, like a dark teal color?" My mother had three favorite colors. One of those colors was black, the other color was brown, and the other color was dark aqua, because I had bought her a suit to wear to church in dark aqua. She and I had gone shopping. She had a dark aqua suit. So now we're painting the car dark aqua in memory of my mother. This car started out with me just buying it as a tech piece. I was just going to use it as a tech piece and probably unload it. And that was in 2009, but because of all the intervening circumstances and the things that have happened in my life, I've become rather attached to the car that we began to call Whitey Ford. So now we are at the point where we're going to be doing more and more things on this car on Manic Mechanic, and it's going to be stepping further and further away from what I imagine Frank's vision for the car was when he had it back in the day, which was to see this car restored to its former glory as a Futura, because when I bought it from him, it had 14-inch wheels, wire wheel covers, and the 260 and the 3-speed. It had been painted once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. Somebody had gone in and blasted all the paint off with a soda blaster or something, because there's paint chips all inside the backside of the dash panel. So I feel kind of bad in a way, because I'm walking away from what Frank's vision was. But isn't that what we always do when we're working on an old car? Don't we buy something and think, well, I am just going to make this thing mine. It's going to be my car. I am not making this for the former owner. I'm not making it for the future owner. I'm making it for myself. But at 61 years of age, it's still not done. Do I plan on selling it? No, I do not. I have all the things to make it exactly what I want it to be. Is it really my car now? No, actually, it's kind of not, because my wife has absolutely claimed this little Falcon as hers. She says this is her car. A lot of memories with this thing. A lot of memories. A lot of memories of working on it and doing things to it, and that's what makes it hard for me to sell a car. You know, I can't get rid of a car after I've worked on it a lot of times, because it's kind of like I don't want to let go of it, because I have so much blood, sweat, and tears invested into it. I don't know where this car is going to end up. I know that we are planning on painting it. I am planning on changing the color to a dark aqua with a black top in semi-gloss black. I know it sounds hideous right now, but wait till we get it done. I've talked to my friend Randy at Paint House in Texas about providing paint for us, because he makes some fantastic colors. I don't know if we can still do that, because paint is very expensive. Randy did a piece on Facebook just recently talking about how this stack of paint, I'm going to show you a picture if I can somehow pull it off of Facebook, that he put up showing just a stack of paint with a 57 Chevy in the background, and that's $10,000 in parts and materials. What do you want to call it? Paint. Paint and materials to paint the car. Whew. It's getting hard to do this stuff sometimes, isn't it? Not the days of Earl Scheib paint jobs for $29.95, for sure. Anyway, that's this short little video explaining Whitey Ford, telling you how he came about, telling you where we got him. So now you know this old cow guy. I don't know why I named him Whitey Ford and it's a he. Most guys name their cars after chicks. Mine is a guy. It's a man. Look at the front end. I mean, it's ugly. It's not a pretty girl. That's an old man that's just really taken a lot, and he's not going to take any more. So that's why I'm giving him a 347 and a 5-speed. RRS suspension. And a will to use it. All right, folks. That's a short little video about why I have Whitey Ford, why we're doing stuff on it. Apparently, from what I understand, you know, having a story makes things more valuable to people on YouTube, so I'm going to do it. That's the story of Whitey Ford. If you want to see the story of why I bought the Galaxy, I'll tell you that one too. Because there is actually a story behind that involving Ron Miller at Auto Crafters. It all started around a disc brake kit. You guys do me a favor, treat each other nice, love on each other. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you on down the road. Right, Whitey? Oh, good old boy. Yeah. Like a big old Labrador. Big and dumb. But not big, because Falcons aren't big.